All right, fam, the way building a business has been taught all along is being thrown into the garbage. I've seen it across all of the service-based industry spectrum, whether you're a pet groomer, a home remodeling business, or an online business like a coach or a VA agency. It really doesn't matter. If you are looking to help your clients and customers get better results, and you want to build a business that pays you well but keeps your time free, then how we build our businesses today has completely changed. I've seen so many small business owners in my community and around the world completely closing up shop or selling their businesses because they've hit a wall. They opened their businesses because they thought it was their ticket to freedom, but all they did was buy themselves a job, which means they're left working dawn till dusk. They're missing dinners with their families. They haven't taken a vacation since before they started the business. And most of them haven't paid themselves, or they're left taking what's literally left for scraps. Meanwhile, spouses at home are putting pressure on them and left them questioning what's really the point anymore, which is a super valid question. Why the hell would you run that rat race for that? And every time I see a small business owner take the easy way out instead of making a few minor tweaks to their business that they need, it truly breaks my heart. It's like I'm living in an episode of Friends with Rachel staring out the window when she's wondering why Ross won't call her. And I guess I get it, because it was only a handful of years ago when I was trying to make that decision for myself too. I started my first business because I loved what I did, not because I knew how to run a business. And so that left all my business acumen tumbling to the bottom of that list. And I was making decisions in my business that were driving the nail through my foot harder and harder. I had $50K in debt. I was working 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. every single day. I had a team that was costing me copious amounts of money, and I wasn't bringing in enough money to even pay them. And as a result, there really wasn't anything left over for me at the end of the month. So I'd come home at night only to hear my husband say to me, "I barely get to see you anymore. This sucks." And fully feeling the financial pressure that our family was dealing with because my business couldn't pull my leg of the work. But now I run a business that on average pays me $80,000 a month, while I only work 90 minutes a day on growing this business 3 days a week. And while you might not be out here to build a coaching business, and you're probably wondering how that relates to you as a brick and mortar business, I've also built brick and mortar businesses that were paying me $300K a year while only working 10 hours a week. My calendar now holds space for 2 hours a week just for actual meetings. And I've made it intentional that I leave every Monday and Friday to what I call flex time, meaning I can use it to grow the business or work on projects, or I can screw off into the woods with my dog, which is the whole idea behind how I view business. It should fuel your life, not take from it. It's life before business, and that's the rule I live by, and that's what I'm going to help you do. My goal was always to build a business that would enable me to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted it, with whoever I wanted. And to construct your business in a way that enables that, that's key. And because I did that, I've been able to design my life just the way I want it, which is to spend it somewhere warm. So I used my business as a vehicle to afford to buy vacation property in Arizona just so I can disappear out of the cold Canadian winters for 6 months while my business operates and grows without directly depending on me. I've flown across the world business class. I've spent time in rooms with some of the gurus that you watch online. But while those are cool and big bucket list items, they're not the point of all of this. The point is the freedom of choice, the freedom of what I do with my money, my time, and the space that I now have in my life. And I want your business to do that for you too. I want your business to get unreal results for your clients. I want your business to give you a life's work that feels like you're making a difference and leaving your mark behind. I want your business to provide you a platform that you can stand on and shout from about all the super helpful things that you know how to do. I want your business to provide an impact in the town, in the community that you're part of. And most importantly, I want your business to help set up your family's life too. And I want you to be able to do that without digging yourself into the ground. Because that's why we do this, isn't it? It's just to have more time to spend with those we love, doing things that we love to do. But right now, you've got the best chance to turn that ship around and set this up for yourself. Because as the markets tighten up and your prospects hold on to their cash tighter, it's never been harder to build your business. And while I can sit here and talk about all the changes in the world that have caused this and blame all those external factors, the truth is, that's not what I'm about. Every one of us has a choice every single day. We get to wake up, do the thing we love, and help spread change onto those around us. And while those external factors press onto us, no matter what, we always have control over what happens. So if you're here because you understand that the decisions you might have made in your business before aren't setting up the life of freedom that you wanted, but you understand that the outcome is entirely within your control, and you just want to know how to do that more efficiently without burning yourself to the ground, then you're in the right place. So here's what's going to happen. Over the course of the next 5 videos, I'm going to share with you how I grew all of my small businesses to 6- and 7-figure businesses while only working 90 minutes per day for 3 days a week. I'm going to show you how getting super simple and super granular was the highway of speed for me. And I'll show you how I put my business on steroids to make those results happen faster in less time without any more work required by me. And I'll show you how I built a team around me so that no matter what I did, the business did not depend on me to be the nucleus. I want you to build a business that provides you the freedom of choice, the choice of what you do with your time, your money, and your mental space. Not a business that is bleeding cash, needs you to do everything, and can't move a day without you like everyone else is. Okay, before we get going, if you want access to everything we're going to cover over the next 5 videos before anyone else, summed up into a quick daily email, just click the link below in the description about growing your business to 30K consistent months on 3 to 4 days a week. It's a little mini course. I'll deliver it to you over the next 7 days. Quick, short emails. Just click below and jump in there. Okay, so I don't know what your story is, but before I opened my business, I traded a 9 to 5 for what I thought was my ticket to freedom. Except it didn't really provide anything like that. I traded a 9 to 5 for a 4 to 10, and I know you're probably in a similar boat right now. All it means is you're working all the freaking time and you just can't catch a break. You probably wake up in the morning, slug your legs over the bed, and you take a deep sigh because here's another day of running that rat race, chasing down the same thing, but not really knowing what you're chasing, but just that you have to chase because no one else will. You've built this business that entirely depends on you, that if you get sick or you have to take a day off for medical reasons or something, then the business comes to a complete stop. And that's incredibly high stakes. Like, it's super risky. And all this results in just having absolutely nothing left at the end of the day. So you come home late at night to something like my husband said to me, like I said, I barely see you anymore. This sucks. And that just took the knife and drove it right into my chest further. And inside of your business, it's left you just doing a bunch of shit that you hate. But if you don't do it, who's gonna? Which means you're literally wearing every hat in your business. You're the marketer, you're the accounting, you're the banker, you're the payment chaser, the social media person, the actual one who does the service to your clients, and you're the one they phone to cancel all the time. And you find yourself saying that it's just easier if I do it. Or if you have a team, it kind of sounds like, why can't they just do X, Y, Z? Or there's probably some of you out here watching this right now who simply can't even afford to hire anyone to help, or you don't know how, or you've been burned too many times along the way. I know that feeling well, and it just feels like you can't escape this trap you're in, right? So it's just easier to do it yourself, which adds to this feeling of the ceiling caving down. Where does that leave you? Probably asking yourself almost every day if you should just burn it down. That is probably easier if you just burn it down. Because you're spending way too much money to not even make any money. You're paying people that aren't doing their jobs. And at the end of the day, your bank account is the only one that isn't seeing a return. And not only is it cheaper for you to just burn it down, it would also eliminate a lot of the stress that you're feeling on a constant day-to-day. Zaps your energy, just empties your tank. So you joke that even though you're not really joking, you joke about working at the gas station again because that would probably just solve a lot of your problems. The funny thing is that I walked all these exact same paths. I know that if you go back through my socials, you'll see all similar storylines. I was trying to pep talk myself through how burnt out and exhausted I was by putting up motivational quotes for my clients. But really, it was just a subliminal message to myself that if I just dug my feet in and worked harder, that I'd probably figure it out. But you can scroll back through my Facebook or go through my CEO Clubhouse group and you'll see all this stuff documented. But a handful of years ago, when I hit my 30s and I realized that my energy and my attitude I had at 20 when I first opened my business, that it didn't actually work for me now and how my life was changing now. Because when I was 20 and I opened up, I read all the books that everybody preached. Just work harder, more reps, more volume, more. Like the hustle culture was alive and well. And even still today, you'll see the Hermosis cram that message down the throat of anyone who's going to listen. But now I reached my 30s and I had a family I wanted to be around and the travel I wanted to do around the world and that I wanted to experience. I realized that this fragile model I had built really wasn't going to cut it. And that's when I stomped forward with the anti-hustle written across my forehead, because I was determined to build this lifestyle freedom that I wanted without having to sell my soul to do it. And so here's where you're caught up. Here's the model you've built and why it isn't working. You're stuck without money because the math isn't adding up. You've underpriced everything that you do because you're busy comparing yourself to all your competitors while you're dumping everything but the kitchen sink into your service because more equals value, right? And on top of your underpriced service, you've hired staff that are way too expensive for what you're trying to do. And most times we do this because we don't understand how money works inside of our business. We think it's just money in and money out and that these people are worth their weight in gold. And while some are, it's still important to understand some financial acumen to your business. And hey, that's okay. It's not your fault because remember, you did this because you're good at what you do, not because you knew how to run a business. But not learning this, that's your first mistake. So we don't charge enough. We overpay our team. You've got more operational expenses than you know how to handle. And at the end of the day, you can't pay yourself. Look, here's a prime example of how I got caught in this mess. Each of my clients were worth about $175 a month. And we had about 150 clients at the time when things were at their worst. I was running about $8,000 to $12,000 in expenses, and I was also having to pay my staff anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a month. And if you do that math, it just doesn't add up. And that's all without paying myself either, because I just couldn't. There wasn't anything there. So the only answer I knew at the time was if I put in more time, that should equal more money, right? So you work harder, you work longer hours, you sit at your computer more, you're trying everything to get new clients, you're throwing anything at the wall just to see if it'll stick. And when that doesn't work, you cut the staff. If you even have the balls to do that, which most owners don't, because I didn't, and that just dug the hole deeper for me. So you cut your staff and you end up back in the delivery boots, adding more time and more exhaustion to your plate. And when you do the math on the amount of money that you're taking in versus the time you're putting out, I bet it's a real shocker to your system. Because when I did this for the first time, the math showed me that I was making $4 an hour. And I remember sitting back in my chair, like it was a real sobering moment, thinking that I might as well just close up shop and go work at McDonald's because they were making a shit ton more money than I was. And they got to leave their stress at work when they left. Like it was diabolical. And so when you run this race, it leaves you thinking that you'll forever be chained down inside this business and there's no hope at freedom, which essentially you just created yourself a job for a boss you hate working for and a non-existent wage. And you do nothing but add more time into that equation, but the money is not changing. And added to that, you're adding more energy, more attention, and you haven't been able to take a weekend off, never mind thinking about a whole vacation. And it's at this point where you run out of gas and it's just easier to burn it down. I lived that. I've had those feelings. I've asked myself those questions. I've had those conversations with my husband. And none of that is why you started this business in the first place. Yet this is where you ended up. But you're here right now. So here's how you're going to do it differently in 2026. Here's how you're going to build that lifestyle freedom into your small business and finally put your life before your business. The first thing you're going to do is plan out your business to support the life you want. So many business owners react forward, meaning they're making decisions day by day, reacting to what's going on or what isn't going on in their business. So they never take into account that some of the decisions they're making is actually pulling them further away from the things they want and the life they want. You're going to do it differently and you're going to start working backwards. You're going to take that ideal life that you're chasing and you're going to break it down into smaller pieces and build that plan that sets that lifestyle up and supports it. And then you're going to stop posting and praying as your marketing plan, and you're going to install a social system that builds an audience of raving fans. Because right now you're waking up in the morning and you're just going to make a social media post just because you have to get that green check mark for your day. So you slap some vanilla chat GPT content up that just blends in with all the other noise and the scrollers just scroll on by, which just leaves you wondering, how the hell do you get new people into your business? Well, instead of the hope and pray strategy that you're currently running, I'm going to show you a complete marketing system that'll have new people entering into your world and raising their hands to work with you. And once you've got that up and running, you're going to bring new people into your world that are already pre-sold. Gone are the days of having to convince someone to work with you or dealing with the price shoppers that hop around, which are two of the most frustrating parts of a sales process. You are only going to attract people into your inbox that are asking you, how can I pay you? Because your funnel does the legwork that it's supposed to do. That's what's going to help control the income. And then it's time to shift to your time, which means you're going to stop doing shit yourself and you're going to set a team up for success around you. This means the right people in the right seats and actually bettering the quality of your service without you needing to be the one who delivers it. And when all of those things get moving, you're going to build the lifestyle freedom business that you wanted from day one in the first place. Following the methods I'm going to walk you through in this mini series, not only have I been able to build the businesses to support that freedom for me, but it's also helped a handful of our absolute winners inside the CEO Clubhouse too. People like Andrea, who took her nutrition coaching business from $1,000 per month to $10,000 per month. And she went from working 60 to 70 hours to 30 hours a week and full vacations across the pond in Europe for 7 days while she didn't touch her computer once. And then we have Carrie, who owns a VA agency for small business owners. She started out at $2,000 a month and grew her business to $15,000 a month. She employed a team around her, so she was completely out of the business. And she spent 2 months with her family on summer vacation, not working a single hour while her business still grew. And then we have Jill and Tiffany, who started a menopause coaching business. They ran some insane marketing off the systems we teach inside the CEO Clubhouse, and they launched a $25,000 week. And now they've got high-paying clients that they absolutely adore, and they are doing amazing work to build this legacy about menopause behind them. That brings us to Kim and Bill, which are home remodelers from Kansas City. They came into the CEO Clubhouse as unprofitable and unbooked. They didn't have a single calendar space filled when I first talked to them, and they had $0 on the books. And now they're making 30K days. They brought on team members, and they get to create unreal before and afters for their clients' houses. And last, Janalee, who was our solopreneur physiotherapist, making $5,000 a month at the time she got pregnant. So with maternity leave facing her, she knew something had to change. And through the CEO Clubhouse, she built herself a team, the systems, and a marketing plan that grew the business while she stayed at home to look after her young ones. And now she has a $65,000 a month business and a full-time team of 9 around her. Okay, so let me show you the rat race that small business owners have been using all along and how we're going to do things differently. Right now, you've built your business based on 4 core pieces: your marketing, your sales, your team, and yourself, the owner. You've done this really in no particular order. It's just merely reacting to what you thought was the constant next right move. If we put your marketing under a telescope, you're posting and praying. You make your post for the day. You might slap a call to action like, click this link to book with me. And then you kind of just sit there and hope that someone sees it and wants to work with you. But really, it just leaves crickets at the end of the day, and on goes another day passing that did absolute shit for your numbers and your bank account. This is what I call playing passive defense. It's so passive, yet it's the most common approach I see when small business owners first come to me. It's the bare fucking minimum, and it just doesn't work. And so if you do by chance get someone asking to work with you, you probably have no real set way that people come and go. You might post your prices online, or you might post a landing page and hope they click through, or you might shout your prices at your prospect over the phone right away. And you're just doing that simply because you're desperate for cash, so you are willing to work with anyone and everyone that basically has a heartbeat. And all this really means is that your calendar fills up with shit clients who don't even want your help, or people you can't really help, and most importantly, they can't afford to pay for your help. And by chance, if they do make it past the payment process, there's probably people who give you a headache down the road anyways. And in order to offset that, you start hiring people. So you start paying them wrong, and you hire anyone who applies just because you're desperate. So now you've got too expensive and too inefficient people who are eating up the little bit of cash that comes through. And just like on this image, you're last to eat, which means you're broke, you're tired, and you're stressed the fuck out. But here's how we're going to do things different in 2026. In order to stabilize your inconsistent cash flow, we've got to start with your marketing. This means we're going to build an engaging audience of raving fans, people that actually want to hear from you, want more of what you have to say, and ultimately want your help. Okay, our goal here is to bring in leads every single day. Once we have leads coming in every day, we've got to build a sales pipeline that brings your prospects to you who are pre-sold, which means you're not going to be wasting your time and energy on people who are not worth your time. This means your sales are going to become easier and effortless, and you're going to be excited about the people that you're bringing into your world. Okay, so by now, cash is no longer an issue. So we can now shift our focus to your time because you're wearing all the hats right now. You're going to use some of that new cash to delegate and optimize what your time is being reinvested into. So that means no lower value stuff for you because you're the freaking CEO. So you only need to spend your time on things that will actually create ROI for the business, like marketing and sales, for example. And then we're going to shift our focus to helping you stop being the nucleus of your business because every decision depends on you and the business just can't grow without you. So you have to build a team around you. And I'm going to talk about the exact steps to do this, but just know that this can be a small team or a big team. That's entirely up to you. There's no right or wrong way to do this, just what you want your business to be. Like if you want to lead others, that's great. Manage a team. If you're like me and you want to keep a super lean team with only the essentials, then we'll do that too. The point is that how you bring team members in, how you onboard them, train them, and provide them with feedback, that's important because that's what keeps the quality of your service high. And ultimately, your service is your product. And this becomes even more important as the business becomes less dependent on you. These are the exact steps that I've taken all of my businesses to 6 and 7 figures, including this one, including PDBM. And PDBM operates with just 2 team members and myself. And we recently just brought in $161,000 last month. So I know it's going to work for you too. So here's how we're going to do this. You've got to think of your business as having 3 main motives: to supply you with the freedom of money, time, and mental space, all so you can achieve your perfect day. In order to do that, we have to start with a plan. Because remember, the mistake that most business owners are making is they're reacting forwards, day by day, making decisions and building their business in a way that doesn't support their money, their time, or their mental space. But you're different, so we're going to start with a plan. This means we have to work backwards, okay? So we start by asking you what it is that you want your business to do for you and why. When we know the image of what the bigger picture is, that helps us start aligning the steps, all so we can start moving backwards. If it's time that you want, we have to set that up. If it's money that you want, we have to set that up. If being involved in your business is something that you want, that's got to be set up. If being a multi-million-dollar business is what you want, you have to set it up to enable that. But no matter what, you have to work backwards from the bigger picture. And then we start by focusing on the freedom of your money, meaning we have to get people in and we have to sell them. So we start with your CEO marketing stack and then your CEO sales stack. And I'll talk more about this in the coming videos and break down each sequential piece so that you can go and install them yourselves. But marketing is where we start to control your money because that's people coming into our world and obviously paying us money. We build our audience of raving fans and we get our prospects to the line pre-sold to make our world easier. When we've got money coming in, then we've earned the right to focus on the freedom of your time. This is your CEO time stack, which puts your involvement in your business into the things you actually enjoy doing, but also grows the business at the same time. To get the freedom of your mental space, you're going to work through the CEO time stack. And that's to train your team to maintain and grow the quality of your service without you having to be the nucleus. And it's then with those 3 stacks that you're going to hit consistent 30K months on 3 to 4 days a week. And that means you're going to be well on your way to achieving your perfect day. So let's break down each stack and I'll give you the bird's eye view of each of these stacks just so you can see what we're going to cover in the upcoming videos. Let's start with your CEO marketing stack. The first thing we focus on is our niche and our offer. And I know that hearing that, you're probably thinking, oh man, like not again. But it's with good reason, and it's because it's the most overlooked and rushed through part of a small business. And it's most likely why you're in the position you're in right now. So we want to do 3 things with our niche and our offer. We want to keep it super simple, not a bunch of different offers, but one single offer. We want to keep it clear, meaning we're working narrowly enough and the result we're promising is super specific enough. It's sexy and people actually want it. And finally, we make sure we're in front of the right audience. People who actually want our help, have the problems we can actually solve, and most importantly, and most overlooked, can actually afford your services. And once you've got that first domino down, you can move on to building your audience of raving fans, meaning you're going to install our 4S social system, which is a Monday to Friday system that builds and compounds attention through the week on your socials and sets your audience up to engage with you, which means no more pounding on deaf ears or putting up bland AI shit, because you'll actually know what to talk about and how to talk about it. And then we're going to use that 4S social system to build our self-filling container, aka your email list, the most important asset you own and the one you're most likely underutilizing right now. You're going to build your email system to send more intense and more specific marketing to your audience that's going to prep them to be ready to raise their hands, which is the next part of our CEO sales stack. So let's go there. The number one rule that small business owners don't do enough of, they don't invite their people to work with them enough. I mean, like, they don't directly ask. They're scared. They're fearful to annoy their audience. They're just scared of getting rejected. But you guys are stuck playing passive defense. So even making this one change in your business is probably enough to completely change your whole business around. So inside of your email system, you're going to build out an entire year's worth of marketing using our campaign OS. And you're going to intentionally offer invitations for your prospects to work with you. That means raised hands by people who are already pre-sold and ready to buy. And once you've got people paying attention and your sales process is steamrolling along, the option here is to add ads to the formula and pour gas on the fire. Most small business owners hate ads, and while organic content is becoming more and more important, ads do have a time and place when they're installed correctly. So I'll give you the done for you process, and you can do this in under an hour and get it up and running so your lead flow can blow up like Rebecca's did overnight when she brought in 100 plus leads, and Jeff, who brought in 270 leads overnight. All right, last, let's talk about your CEO time stack. This is time to figure out where your time is going and put it in the right directions that will actually grow the business, not your endless to-do list. And we start with our CEO ladder, which is actually just auditing your time and delegating out the things you shouldn't be doing and the things you hate doing to somebody who can arguably do it better than you can. And then we build our staff feedback loops into our business, so you know exactly which A players to hire, how to hire them, how to effectively onboard them so they come into your world successfully, and how to train them so the quality of your service is carried over as your web expands. The last trick is the feedback loop. So not only are you setting those A players up for success, you're helping them grow and you're helping them see a future with you and your business, which is a vital, important piece of the puzzle when it comes to actually retaining your staff successfully for a long period of time. The point of mapping this out is to show you the bigger picture of, even though it feels like your business can be this really big, complicated mess, there really are only 3 buckets with a few main steps along the way. In the following 5 videos, I'm going to break down each of these stacks so you're not overwhelmed thinking you have a massive to-do list to change in 2026. In fact, they're small but highly leverageable things that you can do. And so we'll start with the next video in this series, how to build your audience of pre-sold buyers.